So these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration that the president has laid out for members in that meeting today. No tax on tips, which is obviously a very public campaign promise that the president made. No tax on seniors' Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing President Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the president's priorities. Adjusting the SALT cap, eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners, close the carried interest tax deduction loophole, tax cuts for Made in America products. This will be the largest tax cut in history for middle-class working Americans. The president is committed to working with Congress to get this done.
So when we're looking at the White House right now, just over the last 2 weeks, and let's zoom out a little bit, have you ever seen any White House, and you've worked in several, have you ever seen an administration move as quickly as this one?
Oh, goodness. This is like record warp speed that we're watching before our eyes, Jack. Look, when I was in the first Trump administration and I came in about 6 months into that first term, we were focused on getting through the executive orders, basically building out the policies that we needed in all these different agencies, prioritizing what the president had to get done. But of course, President Trump was new to the process, right? And he had a lot of these cabinet officials and also even White House staff that really put a lot of blocks in front of President Trump, a lot of obstacles in getting his work done. Add to that the fact that you had a very politicized FBI. So what does James Comer do pretty immediately? Move forward with the Russian hoax. So a lot of the energy spent was basically pushing back on the fake news, pushing back on the FBI when it came to the Russian hoax. On top of that, he still managed to accomplish so much during his first term by building an incredibly strong economy and obviously building a strong presence on the international stage for the United States. Now, with that being said, this time around, President Trump knows. He knows the pitfalls. He knows what has to get done. That's why you've seen a team that was ready to go day one in the sense of making sure that these executive orders would be signed, moving forward on the priorities that the president has put forth, which is that of ensuring that the border would be secure, in addition to the fact on moving on these anti-woke issues that I think have been so relevant in this election, whether it be, I don't know, just simply agreeing, Jack, that there's two genders or protecting girls and women's sports. And so you've seen the president act in an incredibly focused way. He understands that his political capital right now is the greatest that he'll see during this term going in. And I think his approach of the shock and awe has been very effective, that not even the media has been able to catch up with everything that President Trump has been able to accomplish in just a few weeks.
And it's incredible. Also, I mean, we've got to talk about this USAID, this massive scandal where, of course, now, by the way, Samantha Power has this huge op-ed out in the New York Times saying, oh, this is going to let the autocrats around the world win. Well, I remember who she was labeling autocrats when she was over there with her buddy Victoria Nuland. It was Viktor Orban. It was Law and Justice in Poland. She was going all around Europe. It was the Romanians, the Romanian conservatives, any conservative group in Europe, the AfD in Germany. She was labeling them all autocrats and basically using U.S. dollars to go after them. Is USAID really the head of the snake?
I mean, it definitely is a big part of the snake. I think that there's other government agencies as well that are incorporated in this pushing of a leftist woke propaganda machine that USAID has definitely helped to fund. I mean, we were talking earlier about over 6,000 journalists who have been funded by USAID. Who are these journalists? What are their backgrounds? We know that they have invested money in these media outlets, many of them to take on some of President Trump's allies or conservative leaders. And then, of course, this craziness, their obsession with anything that's transgender, anything that's LGBTQ, where they're spending money in conservative countries like Guatemala, like Colombia. You know, we've talked about the fact that they are just spending this money, whether it be to come up with a transgender opera, you know, a comic book that has to deal with transgenderism. I mean, it is so completely disturbing to watch that the taxpayer dollars would be misused by this previous administration. And let's remember, from the time of the first Trump administration till now, we have seen the budget for USAID double. And these bureaucrats that were in there also being part of pushing this type of propaganda machine, especially when it comes to the money that was spent for these journalists, for these media outlets. What exactly were they pushing? And that's why this transparency, the work that's being done by DOJ, is so critical to get down to the bottom of what USAID was doing, was funding, and how you're able to basically take it down. And one of the stories I heard was someone who had gotten work for USAID, and they said, you know where the money goes? It goes to foreign contractors. It doesn't even go directly to the people. They feed it to the foreign contractors. They take the cut of the money, and then let's see if it ends up in the hands of the people in need. And that is something that obviously there should be a shift in this right now.